Let us pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zhen Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, homage to Master Dubden Dorje, homage to the three jewels of the altar, homage to the main deity of the good practice tonight, Padma Kumara of the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds, Simo Dankan Katso Tutan City, all Dharma Masters, Dharma Educators, Dharma Teachers, Dharma Lecturers, Dharma Assistants, Directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do?
아이스테루 사랑해 올라미고 개개로 무쳐 스코인 이지와 김오지 주미 야비 뿌린뿌린 건방와.
Good evening. Today we practice Padma Kumara. And we all know that we have talked about Padma Kumara many times. There's no need to repeat. But the origin of Padma Kumara, actually his origin was Amitabha Buddha. And we all know about Amitabha Buddha. He's the main reliance of the Sukhavati, or the Western realm of Atmos bliss, commonly known as Western paradise. So Amitabha Buddha had a little bit of origin in Tibet. Let me tell you a little bit. A long time ago, Amitabha Buddha was at Sukhavati, and look at a very faraway place, passing through a billion Pure Lands. Through a billion Pure Lands saw the samsara or Sahawul. And at that time, at Sakyamuni Buddha was giving Dharma teaching in samsara. And there was a light, there was a ray of light radiated at a certain place. He saw very far away, at a great distance, and saw a little bit of light. And where did that light come from? he could sense
那
it.
地方叫做雪域，
And that place was called 雪域,
就是西藏了。
which was Tibet. 雪 is a
释迦
snow,
牟尼佛
the land of the
他看
snowy
出来
land, or
释
the
迦
land
牟
of
尼
the
佛
snow.
已经要涅槃，
So he could tell that Sakyamuni Buddha was about to
但
enter
是血
Nirvana,
域的众生
Parinirvana.
他还没有度，
However, he had not delivered
所以他
the
叫来
beings
他
in the
法
snowy
力最
land.
大的弟子，
So he
那就是
asked his disciple with the greatest power, which was Avalokitesvara
观
Bodhisattva.
世音菩萨。
So
你
Avalokitesvara
沙
Bodhisattva
婆世界
go to Samsara
跟释迦牟尼佛讲，
and tell
你
Sakyamuni
还有一个
Buddha
地方没有度，
that you have not
你
delivered
必须要去跟他
this
讲，
one place.
叫他留在沙婆世间的寿命
Tell
稍
him
微长一点，
to extend his lifespan in Samsara a
不
little
要
bit
那么快
longer,
涅槃，
not
观世
go
音菩
into
萨
Parinirvana that soon.
领了这一道命令，
So Avalokitesvara
就很
Bodhisattva
快地
received this
到了沙婆世界。
command and immediately went to Samsara.
这个观世音菩萨从天而降，
So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva descended from the
有童男
sky
童女，
with
有所
parasol
有的天神
and
拥
the
护他下降。
youthful boy and girl and all the celestial
Sakyamuni
beings
Buddha
supporting him to
跟所有
descend. And
那个
Sakyamuni
沙婆世
Buddha
界的菩萨都看
and
到
all the
观世音菩萨
bodhisattvas
从天
in the Saha world saw that Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva descended from heavens.
然后观世音菩萨对释迦牟尼佛讲，
So Avalokitesvara told
请这
Sakyamuni
个沙
Buddha,
婆世界的依孤主
we
释迦牟尼
invite the main reliance of
且
the
慢
Saha
涅槃
world, Sakyamuni,
因为
to
有一个地方
wait before
你还
entering
没有去度
Parinirvana,
化，
because there is one
那个
place
地
that
方
you have not
就是距你
delivered,
距你不远的地方，
and that place
叫做
is not
雪域
far from your place.
就是西
It's
藏。
called the snowy land, which is Tibet.
其实啊，佛陀降生的地方是在尼
Actually,
泊尔，我们
Sakyamuni,
大家
the
去过
Buddha's birthplace was in
那
Nepal.
边
You've been there, the Lumbini Park.
那么尼泊尔在过去就是西藏了嘛，
And next to Nepal
这是
is
雪域啊。
Tibet,
尼泊尔在
the
中间
snowy
啊，
land.
天图尼泊尔
Nepal is between India and Tibet.
协议还没有度
India,
化，怎么
Nepal,
可以涅
and
槃？
Tibet. So you have not delivered beings
释
in
迦牟尼佛对观
the
世音菩
snowy
萨讲
land. How can you enter into Parinirvana? So Sakyamuni Buddha
我
told
已经
Avalokitesvara
三转法轮，
Bodhisattva, I have turned the Dharma wheel
一
3
转法轮
times.
在鹿野
The
苑
first turning was at the deer park,
啊，讲这个苦集灭道，
teaching
四圣
the
谛。
Four Noble
二
Truths.
转法轮
The second
在
turning
王舍城
was at Rajagriha.
啊，在王舍城，
At Rajagriha.
我讲
And I spoke on
三转法
non-phenomena.
轮
And the third turning of the Dharma
在
wheel
莲花城，
was at the Lotus City.
问大家讲的是什么？
Let me ask you, what did he speak on?
了义，了
The
义。
absolute reality.
好啦，
Okay.
我责任已了，
My duties
我
are
要涅
done.
槃
I want to enter Parinirvana.
啊！我要涅槃，我已经三转法轮了，
I
我
have
要涅槃了。
turned
观
the
世音
Dharma
菩
wheel
萨
3
讲那协
times.
议呢？协
And
议谁去度
Avalokitesvara
化？
Bodhisattva
你
asked,
涅
how
槃
about
了，谁去
Tibet?
度化？
Who's going to deliver Tibet
释迦牟尼
or
又
snowy
讲
land?
来问我的，
And Sakyamuni Buddha
就跟
said,
他有缘。
whoever asked the question must have the affinity. So Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, oh no, that's bad luck for me. I'm the one asking you, and then you're saying that I have affinity with it. So Avalokiteshvara returned and reported to Amitabha Buddha. And then Amitabha Buddha told Avalokiteshvara, then why don't you just stay in samsara? Since Sakyamuni Buddha said that, that means you have affinity with the snowy land. So Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva came to samsara and stayed at the Buddha Loka, which is Mount Puto. And there he accepted a disciple called Yen Ho, who was referred as the Zen master Yen Ho. And this Zen master had affinity with the snowy land. So he told the Zen master, you go to a cave in Tibet and cultivate spiritually there. And the Zen master Yen Ho obeyed and went to the snowy land of Tibet and stayed in that cave to cultivate spiritually. After a period of time, because the land of the Tibet was occupied by yaksas, there was one that was called the rock yaksa, who manifested or transformed to become a beautiful lady to seduce the Zen master Yen Ho. And Yen Ho Master Yen Ho said, oh no, my desire is not gone yet, and then this beautiful lady is trying to seduce me. What can I do? And he went back to Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and asked, oh, what should I do? And Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva said, oh, you have affinity with that lady, that woman. So he had no choice but to marry that beautiful yaksa. Now we don't call marriage, we don't call it marriage anymore, we call it chained together or connected. So the rock yaksa and the Zen master Hoje were together and gave birth to a child that did not look like Yen Ho nor yaksa, but he looked like a human being with great power. Oh, this Zen master Yen Ho, which is kind of like an ape, had great power. He was called the Great Power Ape. So he sent off his son to the forest in the snowy land, and inside it there were many monkeys. Yen Ho means apes. So this man, this kid, coupled with all the female monkeys in the forest and give birth to 400 children. And they don't look like the apes, but they look like human beings. And these 400 children were the ancestors of Tibetans. They were the ancestors of the Tibetans. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva observed that the snowy land is for him to deliver. Therefore, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva manifested in the snowy land, which is Tibet. Therefore, as I have said before, that Tibet, all of Tibet is the spiritual center of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. The so-called Dalai Lama today is also a transformation of Avalokitesvara. And all the karma paths are also emanations of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. That's how it came about. And what was the first of the earliest origin was Amitabha Buddha. He observed so far away to Tibet, and he could see that dot, the light of the snowy mountain, the snowy land. So where did this illusion came from? Or this parable. So it's from the king Songtsen Gampo, the Tibetan king Songtsen Gampo. He wrote the history of Tibet. Have you ever read it? Have you read this book? Is it in the on the internet? How come everything is on the internet? Then why don't you just view your cell phones then? At the time of COVID-19, friends, please wear your mask. It can save your lives, really. Yesterday, one of my friends went shopping with his girlfriend, and on the street, his wife all of a sudden was in front of him, but the wife did not recognize him because of the mask who saved his life. In the future, wherever Grandmaster goes, I would wear a mask. I have a mask, and I wear it wherever I go. And then I would wear sunglasses, and then wear a wig. I wouldn't be afraid even if Sumu sees me. Oh, today I got shocking news. What news? It's been decades. Not decades, right? Perhaps centuries. It turned out that the wife of Qu Yuan is called Qi Chen Tze. This is Chinese play of words.
原来七元投江了以后啊，七成是从来没有再嫁，所以呢，七成是都是不二嫁，是不是啊？他没有跟你一家的空间。
Ever since Qu Yuan is a legend in China. So, and Shen Ching Tze is the name of a store that says no bargain, which is playful in China, which is not married again. It's a joke. Now we will do the question and answer. A question from Malaysia. 莲花一世. It's like persimmons. Is it a man or a woman? You can eat persimmons. And he or she wrote, homage to the most beloved lineage Guru, the Buddha Lian Shen. Could you please resolve my confusion? How do I relieve the bondage with karmic debtors so that they don't attach to us? Thank you. Om Guru Lian Shen Siddhi Hom. Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha Buddha. And your disciple, Lian Hua Yi Si. So he or she asked, how to avoid a karmic creditor to attach to us. We have talked about this a lot, right? How to resolve the bondage with karmic creditors. We've talked about this a lot. And he or she still doesn't know. Is it a man? Is it a human being or a ghost? Are you talking about human beings or ghosts? All the masters and reference, don't be like woods sitting there unmoved. How do you resolve the bondage of karmic creditors? Can you stand up and say something? Anyone? Who would stand up and say something? Nian Ning. Practice the Avalokitesvara body mandala. Please sit. That's only one of them. That's the practice to avert calamities. To avert calamities. Yeah, I guess we can say to avert the karmic creditor's bondage. To practice smoke offering to the karmic creditors. That's also one of the methods, one of the ways. Offerings to ghosts and gods. To the Garuda. And then solitary and wandering ghosts and yaksas and monsters, may they be fulfilled with the sweet nectars. That's also one of the ways. To repay with virtues. So if the creditor comes and you just eat them up, use the Dharma of no self. So you're the predators, and then you eat them up. So no self, the practice of no self is also a way, because you have no more self, so how can they attach to you? Transform consciousness into wisdom. That's the practice of non-action. That's also a way. So many, everybody can say. What else? To repent, chant sutras and mantra and dedicate the merit to them. Repentance ceremonies, attending ceremonies, printing sutras, chanting mantras and dedicating the merits, or chanting the Siddhigarbha Sutras and dedicate the merits to the karmic creditors. All can work. Many. Everybody said. So, we have resolved that question. What other question now? If you really have no other ways, let Grandmaster teach you a Dharma practice. Hom Mama Hom Ni Soha. Visualize the Siddhartha in the sky, wearing white garments, transform into 1,000 eyes and 1,000 arms, holding a parasol descending, and let the parasol cover your body. So when they are looking for you, they cannot come nearby because the parasol is extremely strong. Hom Mama Hom Ni Soha is the strengthening, the protection mantra. If that does not work and they can break in through the parasol, then you can chant the repelling mantra of Siddhartha. If they dare to touch the parasol, they would bounce back, they would be repelled. So the power of Siddhartha mantra would repel them. Then the resentments would be even worse. So you can avoid it only for the moment, but not forever. So you should still find a ways to use your virtues to alleviate the resentments or the hatred, not the other way around. So many people talk about the ways. So making offerings, chanting sutras, printing sutras, and dedicating to you, and performing repentance, and all the good deeds that I do, dedicate the merit to you, chant Siddhigarbha Sutra and dedicate to you, and Bardo deliverance, to Bardo deliver you so that you can be reborn in the Pure Land. So you use your virtues to repay their hatreds or resentments, not using your resentment to repay their virtues. Then you would be eating it. Question asked by Lian Hua Yi Si. So you can be eaten, it turned out. The answer is also good. So that's a collective answer. Answers collectively answered by everybody. You're truly fortunate. from Malaysia, 做四分。
着丝分，有一个丝的，
做四分。
它的中间这个名字是丝。
The middle name is 诗 which is poem.
小雨宜小诗。
My new book is titled Drizzle and Poems. So Drizzles, I have written a book called Drizzles in the Garden of Dreams and little poems. I often write poems, like at the end of my prose or article, I would add a little bit of poems. So little poems. This person, 左四分 from Malaysia. This name is very good. Homage to Grandmasters and Simu. How are you, Grandmaster and Simu? One time, during a ceremony, someone was attached by a ghost. And afterwards, there was clear actions and chanting the Root Guru mantra happily, and we did not know what to do. And there was a difficulty that for a period of time, our relative at 2 or 3 a.m. would call us for help and asking for help that his wife was attached by a ghost and we did not know how to help them. So Grandmaster, in the future, if a true Buddha school disciple encounters someone being attached by ghosts, what can we do? Thank you for your compassionate deliverance. We pay homage to you. So being attached by ghost. So one time during a ceremony, someone is being attached by ghosts, and afterwards he chanted the Root Guru mantra happily. So the ghost can chant Grandmaster's mantra. That's rare. Was it the person who chanted, or was it the ghost who chanted? That's the question. We have many Vajra practices. Grandmaster has many Vajra practices, and Grandmaster has many exorcism practices, or practices to subdue ghosts. When Grandmaster was living in Taiwan, Li-Xing Road 337 lane number 7, we moved from there to a lane on an aisle in Jingwu Road, and then we moved to the Yi-Xing community in Taiping, and we bought a Rambler. And there, I especially did lots of exorcism. Many people who were attached by ghosts were sent to the second village in the Yi-Xing community in Taiping. I will not say which number, otherwise that house will not sell. That's the Taiping area of Taichung. I stayed in a Rambler there, and I thought that's really comfortable, very nice, because that was my first house that I bought together with Simu. And over there, I delivered extremely many sentient beings. And during that time, Master Lian Si and Lian Zu took refuge during that time. During that time, there was a psychiatric ward in Taiwan called Jinghe. And the psychiatrist there said, if you cannot get cured here, why don't you try to find Seng Yen Lu? So the psychiatrists were the one that said that. There was one who was cured, who came to California. It was quite sensational that I cured him or her. And there were many more. They came with chains on their feet and hands, or wrists and ankles. They were being dragged in. And woman that's breathing at me as soon as she got in, like this. She breathed out to me, and Simu was next to me and was really scared. And but she's seen so much, so she started to develop courage and back and move forward. And I had a Heruka of Vajra God with me that attached to my body. And that was from Beigang. That lived at the Mazu temple in Beigang. Which is a director that Zhou Jianghe, the person called Zhou Jianghe that gave me that deity which I enshrine at the center of my altar. He would manifest. And with that female ghost, I would do that. So we had to fight. Did you know? And she dropped down. And then she stood up, joined her palms, and sat next to me. A beautiful lady, very beautiful. Yet she blew her breath at me. After she got well, she sat next to me and kept pushing me, and I did not have any space left. And then she extended her arm and embraced Grandmaster's neck and told me in my ear, Grandmaster, thanks for saving me. Marry me. She wants to marry me. I was young then. And frankly speaking, she doesn't look bad. And I'm also not bad. I was not bad at all, except my height. And she said she wanted to marry me. But good thing that she said it in a soft voice that Simu did not hear. And I told her, That's good that you're well now. Let's talk about it in the future, about the marriage. Let's talk about the marriage in the future. So I saved her too. Really. That's how it is about ghosts attaching to humans. And the others too, with chains on their wrists and ankles. As I said before, all of them put into a train wouldn't be enough. A train wouldn't be enough to carry them all. I don't know how many of them. And I kicked out all the ghosts. Very simple. Whenever the Vajra god come to my body, then I exorcised them all. I did not use any other ways. So I let the Vajra god to attach to myself and exorcise them. That's how Grandmaster subdue ghosts and devils or maras with the Vajra protectors or Vajra gods. And then they left. But they stayed at that house. And then I moved to where? Next I moved to the Lu-Ling building. And then I moved to the townhouse next to the Venerable Yin Xun, called the Lu-Ling Shen Ching. So it's like a townhouse, which shares the same wall, next door to Yin Xun Master. That's my last house in Taiwan. I wanted to sell it, so my sister bought it from me, and then she raised the price and sold it to someone from Taipei. I don't know whether that person from Taipei ever lived there. When I returned to the Yixing community, they built tall buildings, high rises around it. Only that house was still a rambler, and nobody ever lived there. So I asked the neighbors, how come that house was empty, the house that I stayed in before? And they all said, haunted. So that's a haunted house. So I felt bad. You know why? When I exorcised all those ghosts, I did not send them off to Sukhavati or let them reincarnate. So they continually stayed there. So any human beings living in there, they were all chased out until now. I don't know if there's anybody living there, or it had been dilapidated and changed into a high-rise. I don't know. It's been a few years, but before nobody ever lived there. So the question that you ask, you use the Vajra Dharma practice to exorcise the ghost. You use the Vajra Dharma practice to exorcise the ghost, and then you do bardo deliver and pass the ghost to the one who turned the wheels to bardo deliver. But I did not bardo deliver the ghost, so the ghost stayed at that rambler and it became a haunted house The neighbors all said nobody dared to live there. Nobody lived there. A rambler there. And the door, Master Lian Huo, the eldest brother, had the Great Taiwan Furniture Company, and they made the door and gave it to Grandmaster. A nice door. It was a rambler house, but the door was of the highest quality. It was given by the three brothers. If you're not able to let the Vajra God to attach to you, what should you do? Just make a phone call to Grandmaster. Or send a message to True Buddha Foundation. And here, when Grandmaster sees it, I will give the blessings and bardo deliverance for you. How can a true Buddha disciples do? If you don't know how to make the Vajra deity to attach to you, to exercise the ghost and to bardo deliver, then you send fax to the True Buddha Foundation office and Grandmaster will help you do it. That's the answer to Zuo Si Fen from Malaysia. Last night, I told my parents that I will bring my girlfriend home for dinner. But all of a sudden, my girlfriend said that she had to be on business trip. So I went home by myself, but I took my male employee, my co-worker. And then as soon as we got in, my dad just took a glance and then threw all the plates at him. Animal. So the dad did not understand that man can marry man and woman can marry woman, and moreover, man and woman definitely can get married. In Seattle, man can marry man, woman can marry woman. It's the same thing in Taiwan. That man can marry man, woman can marry woman. In Southeast Asia, it's very rare to have man marry man and woman marry woman. But you know why? Because of the president. I cannot say that in mainland China. I can only say the leader of Taiwan. Nothing else to say. What else do we dare to say?
好啦，那个只是一个笑话引起的问题。
That was an issue because of a joke. I mean, the topic because of a joke.
大乘大圣正宗分第三。
Someone asked the right and ultimate meaning of the great vehicle. Why did Grandmaster talk about the view of sentient beings and the view of lifespan? Lifespan is space and sentient beings is, lifespan is time and sentient beings is space. So when there is no time and no space, what good is that? So on chapter 3, the right and ultimate meaning of the great vehicle holds a view of self, other sentient beings, and lifespan. Because if a bodhisattva holds a view of self, other sentient beings, and lifespans, then he is not a bodhisattva. So the view or the phenomena of sentient beings is space, and the view of phenomena of lifespan is time. Lifespan symbolizes time. Why? Some people live long, some people die young. So that's the phenomena of lifespan. If there were no time, as the Buddhism says, the 3 times are the same. What does it mean? The past, the present, and the future are all in one, or connected together. Grandmaster can know about his past lives, can know about his future lives. How can he know? Because there is no phenomena of lifespan. There is no time. Time was completely invented by human beings. See?
Every month, every second.
I miss you every year, every month, every second, every minute, every second,
every hour.
Every hour.
I miss you. 这是情人跟情人讲的话，是以前我讲的话。
These are words spoken to lovers, things that I said in the past. Whether I say it now or not, you don't know. Every second I miss you.
每一秒钟我都在想你。这个。
That's incredible. Years, months, days, minutes, seconds, weeks, from beginning to end, they were all determined by human beings. But originally there was no time, but it was just being specified by human beings. So no phenomena of lifespan. Who can calculate it? Between heavens and earth. Can we calculate how much or how many? So Buddhism, Sakyamuni Buddha talk about it. Talk about kalpa. The initial kalpa. And the last kalpa is called the Jila kalpa. And the kalpa now is called the Bhadra kalpa, as spoken in Buddhism. There's 1,000 Buddhas of the Bhadra kalpa. Right? So, if you cultivate spiritually until you attain that you have no phenomena of lifespan, then you can go back to the past and you can say who you are from the past in the past. And in the future, what you will be, you can also say. And the 3 times are one and connected. The past, present, and future is the same time, one time. So that's the benefit of no phenomena of lifespan and no phenomena of sentient beings. Where I will go tonight, there is no concept of space. I will look for you wherever you are, whether you're in Malaysia, or you live in Taiwan, or in England, or France, or Sweden, or Iceland, or anywhere, North Pole, South Pole, I can go there because I have no space. If you cultivate spiritually until you reach no space, and the more incredible part is you can go to any Pure Lands or any Buddha fields, to Sukhavati, to Shita heaven of Maitreya, to Sukhavati of Amitabha, to the Jensi Pure Land of Akshoba Buddha. You can go anywhere, any worlds. That's called no space. You can do it in a blink of an eye. You don't have to fly. You don't have to ride on clouds of mist. Or you have to chant mantra and the cloud would descend and you have to climb on top of the cloud to carry you there. No need. So no phenomena of sentient beings means no space dimension. There are many more benefits, I'm telling you, right? So no view of sentient beings or lifespan. That's what Sakyamuni Buddha told Subhuti. Now, chapter 4, not dwelling on anything. The great Taiwan and small Taiwan. There are images of Sakyamuni Buddha that's 12 years, when he was 12 years or 18 years. How did it come about? The great Taiwan temple were given by the Princess Tze from Nepal. And one was the Princess Wencheng from the Tang Dynasty. He went to Tibet to marry the local king, and that was 12 years. Sakyamuni Buddha image that when he was 12 years old, and the Princess Tze from Nepal brought an image of 8 years old. So these two images of Sakyamuni Buddha, how did it get to Tibet from China and Nepal? Who carved them? Who gave them the materials? Do you know? You don't know? Maitreya Bodhisattva gave them the material. And it was carved by Gongjiang Tian, like the carpenter Tian. So Maitreya Bodhisattva collected a lot of his gold, silver and jewels and gave it to the carpenter Tian, who made the image of Sakyamuni Buddha that was 8 years old and 12 years old. Why? Do you know how tall Sakyamuni Buddha was? Anybody knows? It's called the Chukang Temple. When they wanted to sculpt the images, Sakyamuni Buddha told the carpenter that you made an image of me when I was 8 years old and 12 years old. And the carpenter said, but I don't know how tall you were when you were 8 or 12. And Sakyamuni Buddha told him, when I was little, I had a nursemaid who's still alive. So a nurse mother. And he brought him there, and you could ask my nurse mother how tall I was when I was 8 and 12. And the carpenter found the nurse mother, and she told him, yes, I know, when I nursed him at the Kapilavastu city, at the pavilion there were two statues. The one is a little bit shorter and one is taller. The smaller one is the 8-year-old, and the other one is the 12-year-old image of Sakyamuni Buddha. So the carpenter measured them. Then he knew how tall Sakyamuni Buddha was when he was 8 and 12. The Master knew all these things from the past. How come you wouldn't? How come you know? The size of 8-year-old and 12-year-old that's being enshrined at the Great Jokang Temple and the lesser Jokang Temple, and the image, the appearance and the size. How come you knew? Because I have no view of sentient beings and no view of lifespan. With no view of sentient beings, I can go anywhere. With no view of lifespan, I can go back to the past. Of course, then I know. So how about you? Do you know? You don't know. The ones who don't know, don't know. The ones who know, know. What time is it? 10:13. So today I am telling stories for you. Subhuti, Sariputra, Moggallana, Ananda, 4 of them. If you go see the Sakyamuni Buddha's image when he was 8 years old and 12 years old, behind them there are 4 of his great disciples. They carved these 4 disciples behind Sakyamuni Buddha: Sariputra, Subhuti, Moggallana, and Ananda. How come Kashyapa, Mahakashyapa, is not there? Because Mahakashyapa has left Sangha. Mahakashyapa has left the Sangha because he was in a fight with Ananda. He argued with Ananda, so he wanted to leave the Sangha. Sakyamuni Buddha wanted to make him stay. Don't go. And try to keep him in the Sangha. And he said, I cannot accept it. You live and eat so luxuriously, and I'm first and foremost in monkhood cultivation. What is Sravakas? I'm asking you. Around Sakyamuni Buddha, there are 10 great Sravakas or 10 great Arhats. Why are they called Sravakas? What are they? Which means the hearers. So that means they personally hear Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma teaching. So they heard Sakyamuni Buddha's voice and Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma teachings and have attainment due to that. They are called hearers or Sravakas. So what I talked about today, Sariputra, Moggallana, Subhuti and Ananda were carved behind Sakyamuni Buddha's 8-year-old and 12-year-old statues, the closest to Sakyamuni Buddha then. I knew if you go to the great Jokang temple or the lesser Jokang temple, and you would be able to see 4 of the 10 great arhats that were carved behind him, behind the statues. So this is what we talk about today. The Vajrachatika Prajna Paramita Sutra. Tomorrow we will talk about chapter 4, not dwelling on anything. Do we have a Vajra Sutra discourse tomorrow during the grand ceremony? It's up to you, Grandmaster. It's up to me. Yes. Okay, tomorrow is grand ceremony, right? Tomorrow is grand ceremony. So let me share a couple of jokes. Let me tell you, what I'm telling you today is all a secret. Don't tell, okay? Nobody knew. It's necessary that you have the view of you don't have the view of sentient beings and lifespan. Nobody else knew. They all knew the statues of 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds, but the origin and what were carved behind them, only Grandmaster knew. Only Grandmaster knows. The elephant just got married to the ant for 2 days, and they wanted to get divorced. And the judge asked, why? And then the ant said, to have a kiss, I have to climb 20 minutes. And the elephant was even more angry. Just to have a kiss, I need to use a magnifying glass to find her. And I cannot breathe, otherwise she would fly. So it has to match. It has to match. Oh, right. One more thing that I need to explain. I cannot tell jokes anymore. Last time I was talking about those who don't come to listen to Dharma teaching would breach the precept of undermining, but not for this period of time. You don't come for the Dharma teaching because COVID-19 is here, the coronavirus. You don't dare to come. Listen to the Dharma teaching. That is forgivable. Second, if you have something and you cannot come listening to the Dharma teaching, but you watch over the internet or on the cell phones or computers, then you don't violate the precepts. So when Grandmaster gives Dharma teachings and you intentionally not come, although you are able to calm, then you're violating the precepts. But for this period of time, because of the virus, we cannot have huge gathering, and we have so many rules. So that's not the breach of the precept. Because maybe you're scared of gatherings, and what if you're infected? Not like Grandmaster is being protected and enveloped by the divine light. Actually, it's not that. I just use alcohol to disinfect. At night, I use a little bit of alcohol to disinfect, to have blood circulation, to warm up. Even if there's virus inside, that it would be killed by the alcohol. So please don't drink alcohol, because that's a violation of the precept. And Grandmaster just drink a tiny little bit. And the alcohol is 58%. Or 58 proof. 58%. Just drink tiny little bit. And it burns from the throat and throughout the body. And the virus, virus is dead. Okay, that's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.